Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Minnesota RØKKR co-stream. My name is Ashley, aka Midnight. I'm here with Icon. Icon, how you doing? What's good?
Doing great. Excited to
Yeah.
watch. Hopefully, well, maybe not hopefully. We've had two hot 3-0s. We'll see if we get another one here.
Yes, we're most definitely ahead of schedule today, which is so crazy because you never know when the match is like, okay, is it going to be an hour and a half late or is it going to be 30 minutes early? And today it is 30 minutes early. I couldn't be more excited though. I know last week was so weird, right? Like all the teams were supposed to play, and I think we were supposed to play 2 matches last week. But obviously, with everything going on in Texas and just people being unable to practice play, I think we might not have even been able to do this stream because our producers from Texas, right? So it would have been tough scenes last week, but all that sorted out, and now we have Super Week. It is upon us. There is like 80 matches, and we have 3. We're starting off today versus Seattle Surge, and I'm really excited. Honestly, I wasn't on the podcast with you guys. By the way, I missed you guys. So I missed predictions and everything. But
We missed having you.
I gotta come out. I'm gonna start really hot with my prediction right before the match even gets close to starting. 3-1 RØKKR, let's go. What do you think?
Oh, jeez.
I know. What are you predicting for RØKKR versus Surge? Obviously, Surge looks improved from last year, but they're really still struggling. And I think, if RØKKR tunes up the hard points just a little bit, they're going to be really hard to beat. So tell me, your thoughts on RØKKR versus Surge.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's probably going to be a 3-1. It could even be a 3-0. I think that this is a match where I think Minnesota has a clear advantage. If you're looking at even just the SMG versus SMG matchup, if you're looking at AR versus AR matchup, I mean, Minnesota has across the board. If you're just looking at season-long KDs, Looney and Pristine been the 2 for Seattle that they're not quite putting up the numbers that they need them to. They have a 0.8 and a 0.9 so far in the season. And if you look at Minnesota, Attach and Priesta, Attach has been playing great. Attach has at a 1.13, Priesta's at a 1.04. And you expect from here, you kind of expect Priesta to even go up even higher than that. So SMG matchup seems like it should absolutely go the way of Minnesota. The only thing that might cause a little bit of a hiccup is that when you're looking at that Seattle roster, Gunless has been phenomenal.
He's nasty this year. I'm scared of him.
Absolutely. So far, he has been the key on that Seattle squad. He's putting up a 1.13 so far. I know it's super early, but still, Octane hasn't quite been the Octane of last year, but we all know that Octane can, at the drop of a hat, be the top AR in the CDL. So you always have that to deal with also, but accuracy has been playing great, especially in Search and Destroy, and the person leading the way for Minnesota has been Major Maniac at a 1.23. So across the board, Gunless might scare me a tiny bit, but on some of these smaller maps, when you have that SMG matchup, it seems like Attach and Priesta should lead the way.
I'm hoping so, man. I got accuracy on my fantasy lineup. He crushed it for me last match group. So I couldn't be more excited to see how the boys do. I definitely agree with everything you just said. Not to sound like a yes man or a hype person, but it just makes sense, right? I mean, even if you look at the off seasons that these two teams had, I thought Seattle they kind of they wiped the board. They said, all right, we're gonna build around Octane. Very smart. But they didn't really improve that much, and it's starting to really show. Whereas, I mean, you can make the squad wipe joke if you want, but Minnesota RØKKR comes in, we're looking fresh. We've got the new young guns on the squad, so I don't know. I'm just really excited. I feel like we've won Roster Mania, and now we're gonna see if we actually can win against Surge, here today. And so if you look at this whole week too, because we have 3 matches this weekend, that means 3 co-streams. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way. Don't forget it. Make sure to subscribe. Hit the like button too while you're here. If you're here, you're logged in. Hello, I love you. Hit like, hit subscribe. Let's do this. We've got Surge today, London on Thursday, and then is it Saturday we play New York? Which and we talked about this on the last co-stream, right? We started off hot versus 2 of the best teams in our group in LA Thieves and Dallas Empire, and now I'm not going to say the rest of it is easy because it's not. But if you get your hardest opponents out of the way, you've got to feel decently well going into the next 3. So I'm hoping that the guys are, feeling pretty like amped up. Obviously, beating Dallas, not many people expected that. Shout out to me. That was my upset pick of the week on the podcast. I got a little lucky
Homer
there.
pick.
It was a homer pick, but I did get the maps correct. So, we were doing it. We were doing it. Look, okay, chat. I want you guys in the chat. I want you to spam, if you can, your predictions. Someone said hot 3-1, possibly 3-0. Big 3-0 coming up. I think it could be a 3-1. That would make sense to me. I mean, maybe we drop the hard point, but I think even if we don't drop the hard point, if we pull that hard point, Seattle's going to start sweating bullets, which, I mean, it makes total sense. So, I mean, looking at the last, matches versus, kind of like I just mentioned, 2 of the best teams in our group as it's shaken out so far, who do you think, has to have the biggest impact on the team coming out of those? Is it, I mean, I know you mentioned, Attach and Priest to have to go off, but, what can one person do to improve the hard point of RØKKR versus Surge?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is that overall you're not quite getting the KD that you want to see out of accuracy. He has a 0.92, and where he's really made his money so far this year is in search and destroy. He's made so many clutch plays to win rounds in search. But if you're talking about the respawns, when you have your main AR on rotations in those critical gun battles, trying to win map control and do all of those super important things that a main AR does, that's where you want to see accuracy really, exceed and really win the map rotations and stuff like that for his squad. So that's probably the biggest thing that I'm looking for. It seems like so far, especially in those hard points against Dallas, it seems like you're always trying to break a setup that Dallas already had. And if you're trying to do that time and time again, when you have 12 teams and it's only the 48 best players in the world, that's not really a recipe for success. So Minnesota, at this point, just continue what you're doing in search and destroy. Try to win some more map control and rotations and stuff like that. And if you do that, if you get it figured out in terms of hard point, you're going to be tough to beat.
That's exactly right. So if we look at the maps, shout out Nightbot in the chat, always here. Biggest fan, Nightbot. We got Checkmate Hardpoint, Raid S&D. This is the first raid that RØKKR has played in the 2021 season, and I couldn't be more excited about that. That's my favorite map of all time. We've got Raid Control, Moscow Hardpoint, and Moscow S&D. Obviously, we saw how so close we were to beating Dallas in that map 1 hardpoint on checkpoint. I'm wondering if that was our pick, if we're thinking, we didn't win that one, but we could definitely win this one. I'm really excited to see kind of how these picks shake out. And I mean, even looking in the chat at the predictions, if you look at the maps that we got coming up, we could be in for a quick day of CDL. We just had 2 3-0s before us. I'm probably jinxing it. Knock on wood. Pet the cat. Good luck. I'm hoping that we don't jinx it. I think, for me, I definitely agree that accuracy needs to be as dominant as he was, particularly in the last 2 matches. Because if you look at the AR battle that's about to ensue, you've got accuracy and you've got Octane. So, I mean, I'm terrified. Just thinking about that matchup is terrifying. I think, if you look at, I mean, maybe I'm talking out of my neck. You let me know, Icon. But isn't Checkmate, a little bit less of an AR-dominated map? Is it going to come down to the subs?
It really depends on the hill. I mean, some of the hills up in P1 inside the plane, super tight, so that's really sub dependent. But on rotation to the money hills from P2 to P5, those are really wide open areas with long lines of sight. So the 2 money hills, P2 and P5, that's where your ARs come into play. The more contested hills, P1, P3, P4, that's for SNG. But where you want to get the majority of your time is what's going to be controlled by the ARs.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense to me then. You've been following much closer to me than me this year. I mean, you're breaking down scrims on your channel. Go sub to YouTube, Icon's YouTube as well. Make sure to subscribe to us here, and we're going to kick it over to the CDL stream now. So go enjoy the RØKKR match. We will be back in between the maps a little bit when there are breaks in the CDL broadcast. Icon and I will be back to break down the action and just get hyped. So give me some love in the chat. Give me some purple hearts, and let's go RØKKR.
hands coming up next. Excited to watch both these teams face off, and let's go get right into it. Let's go ahead and meet our first team, the Seattle Surge.
Finds the first. Assault's in trouble. Pristini looking dangerous. Such aggression right now.
Monte, he's just ripping the entirety of the Gorillas. Wow. They line up in front of him. Clooney, the angle. What is that? He got the kill. Are you kidding me? Now Seattle's inside. 249, 249. Seattle won.
That is your Seattle Surge, hot off a nice victory versus London just about a week or so ago. Obviously a different look team. Octane surrounded by some familiar faces, of course, around the CDL, but really just in general study. To talk about this team, for me, it's those two guys on the left primarily who are going to be, at least on paper, the guys to look out for. You got the human turret. Now you got 240 Hertz gunless.
Oh, man, with those two ARs on your team, all the opposite teams are going to be scared. That backfield of just those two players is insane. Octane on one end, gunless on the other. And let's not forget Looney. He's one of the most smartest players in the entire history of Call of Duty. I'm excited to see all three of these players back together again.
It's going to be fun to watch Seattle. It's also going to be fun to see, obviously, the roster they're facing off against, a group of veterans as well. Let's go ahead and meet our Minnesota RØKKR. Your Minnesota RØKKR with at least one of my favorite intro videos, without a doubt, in the entire CDL. I mean, really from top to bottom. A great roster, a solid group of guys. Really, we talk about this team, a totally different look for the RØKKR coming into this new season. Obviously, bring in accuracy and attach from the subliners. You've got Major Maniac and Priesta coming in from Atlanta FaZe. Some old duos, and really guys who just want to win, a passion to obviously try to walk away with games, guys who are hungry at this stage in their career to want to continue to improve. And I'm excited for the RØKKR this season, Study, especially given their recent victory versus the defending champs, Dallas Empire.
Yeah, I'm excited for the RØKKR too, man. From top to bottom, this roster is completely stacked. We're talking about players individually skilled. We're talking about Priesta, talking about attach, even Major Maniac. The guy's just an absolute beast. Then you team him up with the Iceman and himself in accuracy. The only thing about this roster is their hardpoint, man. When are they going to win a hardpoint? Is it going to be this series? They're currently 0-6 since the Kickoff Classic. So now they're going up against a team in the Seattle Surge. We know how good they are in S&D. But for them to walk away with this series, I need them to steal a hardpoint.
Yeah, I mean, really, both teams not great when we talk about, obviously, this particular mode of hardpoint. Both 1-10 combined, by the way. Wow. Including kickoff. So, hey, now's our chance to improve upon the record. Checkmate Hardpoint is where we will check in for our first map. What hopefully is a very long series. It's been constant 3-0s today, and I'm hoping that we actually will have a very good series on our hands. I think that we have the opportunity to, my friend.
Yeah, we definitely do, man, and that's exactly how this game's going to start. Looney able to turn and burn onto attach right there. 3 go down for the Minnesota RØKKR. So far, this is a good start for Seattle Surge. They have spawns going into that P2, and they're also picking up all this time for P1. But they just lost the spawns, as I say.
I was getting ready to say, it looked like a great position, just like that. Minnesota, they're happy to grab some as well. A lot of focus going to be on a few different players for Minnesota, really throughout the entirety of this game. Priesta, at least in my opinion, one of the guys to look out for. I know last year on Atlanta, didn't really have the opportunity to shine when we talk about that star-studded lineup. Now he's got the opportunity to with this team. Another guy, of course, going to be attached in a major gunfight, able to take down Looney, who was trying to hide behind those yellow crates. Minnesota really just looking to try to clear out the spawns. A lot of focus going to be on these players trying to make their way through Finn, at least to start. RØKKR able to shut them down. Seattle looked as if for a moment they were starting to train through that A street. However, it's going to be a no-go. A lot of free time for Minnesota, at least to start. Pristini with that Krig really through mid-map, just trying to find a pick, but RØKKR not giving anything away.
Yeah, RØKKR playing this beautifully, man. You see that number player who just dropped, which is Major Maniac. He's posted up on that left wing, forcing all the players from the Seattle Surge to spawn back towards that back P4 area. And now it's looking like Minnesota are basically going to try to get a full 60 on this P2 hardpoint, and that's exactly what they're going to do, man. Good bounce back, especially the way that they gave up 27 points on that first hill. It's not exactly what you want to do, but securing a full 60 on that P2 is a great bounce back if you're the Minnesota RØKKR.
It is indeed a good moment for them. It was a temporary, I want to say 10 streak for Minnesota off of that yellow crates hole where they grabbed basically every single second. Talk about P3, I mean, this is going to be a hill where it's just spotty time back and forth. It's really kind of about the future spawns, for the most part, is really kind of what the primary focus is. Attached, finding himself on the 5 spree, really just kind of toward that A street, clearing things out, and maybe having that future spawn knowledge really in the back of his mind, but crossfire engagement. Seattle now hopping inside the hill. Attach, big gunfight win onto Pristini, but I believe it was player 8 Gunless who was able to wipe him away.
Yeah, and it's looking like Seattle Surge are trying to get the remaining time on this hill. Eventually focus towards that rotation towards P4. But as I say that, a couple players are going to drop down towards that A street. Major Maniac trying to push through and flip the spawns out. He's going to drop. Looney eventually is going to go down. Now forces all the players from Seattle Surge to spawn back wood. So far, if you're Minnesota, this is a great start to this hard point. You're getting basically a lot of time on every single one of these hills. You hold a full 60 on that P2. You basically keep him off that P3 the entire time. Now you are set up for P4. Here comes Looney trying to come around the backside and take 2 down, but he's going to get dropped. Major Maniac with the turn and burn on the Octane. Great hold so far out of Minnesota RØKKR. If they can keep this up, it can get real scary for the Seattle Surge.
Minnesota, they've been dominating over at A Street, and now they're doing it with the time. Let's go ahead and go to an Astro Gaming listening with RØKKR.
In their behind us. I'm watching our back.
Their steps Looney.
Yeah, they are.
Their steps Looney. Their steps Looney.
I'm holding great crazy.
You know
where he went? I'm
yeah, they're dead.
One was wood, right?
Okay, let's walk over the other.
I'm holding left.
Look, I'm hitting top lane. I'm hitting top lane.
Okay, try to get new deal.
I can wrap towards new, yeah?
Someone should help me left, I think.
I'm wrapping.
I have your tower. I can hold over you.
Arnold dead.
One's mid alley.
They're nading me. Too old. Old Sam.
Look in mid alley.
3 hitting old. 3 hitting old. No bullshit. 3 hitting left.
I have tower. I have the cross.
Okay,
I got one. Well, I got one more.
I have deep left. I have 2 left. Oh, 2 back left. 2 deep left. 2 deep left, bro.
I spawned here.
2
there. 2 on me.
I'm wrapping.
I got one. Wood. Almost back left. He went
back left.
One shot wing. Absolutely.
Where'd he go?
He's one shot down. Good shit.
Don't come get a trophy because
I'll come get
left.
I
got me. Graffiti. There you go. Good job, Bill.
I'm pushing up front, though.
B-wing. I'll help you. Lower top. I got nade.
Oh, you low right. Nice job. Try to get some.
Okay, you go for top. You're sitting upstairs.
Stay down from that
test box.
Front right.
Inwood.
I don't know about you, Studdy, but really kind of throughout that entire sequence, obviously with Minnesota getting P5 spawns the way that they did, I heard a lot of praise really in the communication from the guys saying, hey, good job doing this, good job doing that. Really, when we talk about chemistry with this team, these guys are going to have it regarded as a very disciplined-like roster. They've yet to win a hard point, but boy, are they making this one look like the record should be flipped.
Yeah, and I love the comms out of Minnesota RØKKR, man. You could just tell they were really emphasizing the important kills on the map. You heard accuracy, back left, rotating towards that P5. You heard Priesta and Major Maniac realizing like that one needs to happen. That kill needs to go down for them to secure the spawns and eventually get a lot of hill time. And so far, they have been doing that the entire map so far. They get a full setup. They know exactly where all the players are coming from. You're going to see them on the second rotation of hard points now. 184 to 64 points. We were asking Minnesota RØKKR to give us a hardpoint win, but I was not expecting it to be this dominant.
Player 8, almost going to try to do anything he can right now toward the back of the spawns. And if you're Seattle, you need to get this one straight up. It needs to be yours. Minnesota, at least to start off this next hill, are going to be able to gain the time and attach. He's going to spot Pierce out. Can he win the gunfight? He does. Pristini's still going to be here. Attached, the awareness is still there. He and Major Maniac there with the crossfire. Major Maniac, by the way, on a 5 spree himself. Again, it has been all highlights up to this point. Player 7, Looney, is going to be here for what could be somewhat of a spoiler. Make sure to get rid of the trophies, so maybe a few of those nades can come over from the team. Also is able to do some work from the back. Again, not a whole lot of time yet for Seattle. They'll be able to hop inside of the hill, and a lot of it is kind of based off of that push from Looney. Now, I'm not sure if he spawned there or if that was a rotation. Regardless, if you're Seattle, you'll take it at this point in the game, Scotty.
Yeah, it was a beautiful rotation out of Looney. The time was going down. He saw all this gunfights from his teammates going down, decided to just play sneaky, work around that back yellow building, and eventually get the kill on the Major Maniac and flip response to try to get some time focusing on this second rotation of hardpoints. 204 to 86. They're going to have to basically be playing flawless hardpoint from this point out, and I'm looking at Pristini, man. We were talking about the sub-duos on both sides, but Pristini currently 9 and 21. Not really stepping up to the plate when he needs to the most. Actually, the entire Seattle Surge, man, the only one positive is going to be Octane. So just in the slaying department, they're not keeping up. But it's all just because the Minnesota RØKKR are just completely dominating on rotation. Whenever they have this setup for the new hill, they've just been setting it up, emphasizing the kills that they need to really focus on. And it's just been a great hold so far to Minnesota RØKKR. You're going to see Seattle Surge trying to fight back in this one. 3 are going to go down. 30 seconds remaining on this P3 hardpoint. They need to get a good chunk of time and eventually set up for P4 if they want to fight back in this one.
Yeah, I know what Pristini is, as you called out, right now, a great performance by any means to start off this HP. Saw him with the XM4, saw him with the Krig to start off this game. Definitely kind of transferring to a few different weapons. But we talk about this particular hill. This is where the game kind of started to snowball in favor of the RØKKR. It was kind of really through this on transfer throughout P3. They were able to flip the spawns and really lock down time in A Street. Also locked down time at P5 as well. Seattle hoping to improve on a few things, at least to start off A Street. They will be able to hold the time. Currently, grabbing some seconds is going to be Octane. Here come the streaks. The artillery from Attach is at least going to be able to keep them out of the hill for a time. Instantly gridded with a few nades is Octane, but Human Turret was still holding on. Major Maniac able to drop him. Pristini from the back, actually going to be going on a 6 spree. Just as I say that, accuracy is going to be there for the trade. If you're Seattle, you are getting a little bit more time. Pristini's starting to play a little bit better. You're happy with that. But again, they've got a lot more work to do in order to make this game a close one.
Yeah, Seattle so far on this P4 hill, they've been holding this perfectly. You're going to see that number 7 player just trying to play this corner, be sneaky, but Minnesota RØKKR are breaking right through the middle, able to pick up some time. Major Maniac with 3 to the young man. He's trying to find the 4th. He's going to slide around the corner. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to take down Pristini. But best case scenario done. He gets 3 right there. Minnesota RØKKR keep the spawns going into that P5. They're going to have Lamar, which is accuracy set up all the way in the top tower. He's going to get gunned down by Gunless. But only needing 20 seconds left to close out this hill. Seattle Surge need to try to break this, need to try to pinch it, pick up every single kill to stay alive in this game.
Got a good opening sequence going, at least up to this point. Player 5 and Octane actually has to hop inside of the hill. Can't win it on Major Maniac, but Pristini, he can play spoilers, has a few teammates from the front. He's the one at the back, but they know he's here. They know that Pristini's here. It's going to be up to Attach. Going to walk away with the fight, tosses out the nade, trying to get him out of the HP, or at least toward the spawn, to make sure the HP can be clear. But Pristini, he has to hop in soon. Why? There's only 5 seconds left in the game. He hops out. Accuracy is going to take him down. A few more seconds left, and this game belongs to the Minnesota RØKKR. Dominant really from beginning to end. They held P4, P5 majority.
That is one thing you love to see, Icon. Oh my gosh. If you predicted 3-0 in the chat, you're feeling pretty good. I wasn't sure how we would look on Hardpoint, but when we entered into that map there and the casters were like, yeah, so these teams collectively are like 1 in 10 in Hardpoint since kickoff weekend. I was like, ooh, wait, did we meet our match a little bit? And I mean, the guys have to have been working on Hardpoint a ton, and it showed. What do you think? Like, was it maybe that we've been working on a ton of Hardpoint recently, and it showed right there, or is it the case of maybe Surge just they just don't have it like that?
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both. I mean, that first set of rotations was absolutely perfect. Minnesota got bad spawn. They almost immediately flipped for P2, and then P2, P3, P4, P5, they just snowballed. They won time on all 4 of those hard points, and before you knew it, they were up 100 points going into the second set of rotation, and Seattle did a little bit better. I mean, they had P2, they kind of had P4 second set of rotations, but it was just too little too late, and close it out on P5.
God, man, I mean, Attach started so freaking hot that map. I think he was like 17-8 at one point, more than double positive, absolutely slain. And then, you know, Icon and I were speaking during the ending of the map, and we were looking at the scoreboard, and I was like, man, like, there was really no runaway carry. Like, all of the guys played really well balanced KDs across the board. And I mean, you said it, like, other than a couple of hills, like, we held map control and rotations the entire time, and that fast start had to feel good, right? I think Seattle didn't have more than 70 points for like over half the game, so it's got to feel good if you're Minnesota RØKKR to finally get the Hardpoint monkey off your back. And now we'll be going into Search and Destroy on Raid, the best map of all time ever made, ever. You heard it here first. This is a map that we actually haven't seen RØKKR play. We didn't play it last week, didn't play it at the kickoff. I'm just excited to see some Raid. I wish that there were snipers, because I remember running Kitchen with the sniper and going for the mid snipe. I don't know. Do you think that Seattle like has it to bounce back in the Search, or I mean, Minnesota's been so good at Search. If you're Seattle, you're sweating.
Yeah, I think this map is tough. We saw it actually yesterday with Atlanta. We saw aBeZy really struggle on this map because aBeZy is very similar to Pristini. They're players in Search and Destroy that they like to be super aggressive, get in those areas where you don't expect them to be, and be just hyper aggressive. And this is a map on Raid where you can't really do that. It's a classic 3-lane map, and wherever those choke points are, like you mentioned Kitchen, that choke point from Kitchen to Zigzag is really far. And if you're trying to rush through there with an SMG and there's somebody standing with an AR on the other side, it's just hard to get through there. That's exactly what we saw aBeZy struggle with yesterday. And I think it's probably where you're going to see Pristini struggle today.
I feel for him, but definitely not when they're playing against my team. I want my team to win. Let's go, RØKKR. You guys, give me some Let's Go RØKKRs in the chat. If we could go up 2-0 in the series by taking this Search, which RØKKR have looked really good in this year, we will be sitting pretty. But won't happen until it happens. So I'll kick it back to the CDL feed. Give me some Let's Go RØKKRs in the chat, and let's go.
I didn't realize I got jumped out from green right there.
All that I gave it up for a second. That's my bad. I like stop watching. Go, boys. That's
hard points. I got fried, bro.
Good.
1-3-0, bro. My it wasn't working first game.
Just
those hard points
in the ice.
Yes, sir.
We did, baby.
Yo, you see what it looks like outside? Come on,
come on, man. We're the Minnesota to Texas, baby.
That was the RØKKR just days ago, taking down the defending champions, the Dallas Empire. One thing I took away from those comms study was, I think it was Major who basically said, all we got to do is just win a respawn. And they do that so far in this series, right? They're able to make good on it when it comes down to that one on Checkmate, making Seattle, pretty much making their heads turn. Really, when we talk about the way that they performed throughout this match, looking good, at least to start off this game. And really, I mean, we talked about it kind of at the start of the show. If the RØKKR can win respawns, how solid they can be, a very high ceiling is definitely going to be inbound. And as we talked about the Minnesota RØKKR, we'll go and pull up our Game Fuel keys to victory for them, which is, hey, continue to win the Search and Destroys. They are 3-0 this season, a 1.20 S&D KD as a team, which is good enough for third. And then also, RØKKR need to step up in the hard points, 1-4 on the season. No RØKKR player is above a 0.97 KD in the hard points. And hey, again, we talked about it. They've got the hard part out of the way. Now it's time for them to focus on their bread and butter and some good old Search and Destroy.
Yeah, man, we're talking about it. The hard point, man, and they completely dominated that hard point. Every single rotation, they were fully set up. P2, P3, P4, P5. They were just having every single setup they wanted to, and it definitely showed on that map. One, if you're Minnesota RØKKR, you got to be riding the storm right now. You're feeling really good with that map #1 win underneath your belt.
And keys to victory for the Seattle Surge. Steady. Keep it going, my friend.
Yeah, we're going to start off with Gunless and Looney need to continue playing well in the hard points. And we saw it right there. Gunless was not the only player that didn't play well. We saw Pristini as well. There were only at least one player positive, and I'm pretty sure it was Octane. So obviously, that key to victory wasn't in there. But Gunless, 1.54 in hardpoint wins compared to a 0.7 in losses. Same thing with Looney, 1.2 compared to a 0.7. The hardpoint was the biggest thing for me because we know how good of a search and destroy team this team can be, but we also know how good at search and destroy Minnesota RØKKR are. Yeah. So they're going to be 3-0. Seattle Surge, their backs are against the wall. Pristini did not have the great first map that he was looking forward to, but this is the bounce back. You need to go into this search and destroy, at least keep it close, and try to pull this out to keep this series going.
Yeah, we talk about Raid, which of course is going to be up next for Search and Destroy. We'll have Raid for not just the S&D, but also the Control. So we'll be here for a little while. And kind of in reference as we fly in for this, I think you are kind of looking at Pristini in terms of trying to maybe walk away with a few of those first bloods to try to make an impact. I mean, where do you think he could do that? You think he can do that on this map specifically for Seattle?
I think he definitely can, as long as he's trying to control around that P5 min-map area, working towards pillars, working towards Zig, working towards water steps with his submachine gun. It could be really easy depending on how his teammates are set up around these other bomb sites. So if you're Pristini, just try to stay aggressive towards mid-map.
We fly in for round one. Seattle kicking things off on offense. Early damage done. That's actually from Major Maniac. Keep in mind, a lot of pressure already inside of Art, or at least kind of just toward the outside. They're actually hanging out in Zig, so my apologies. Thought they were making their way in already. But Pristini dropping early for the first blood. Offense not scattering necessarily, actually keeping together pretty well. Priesta with somewhat of a nice angle sitting through P5. Major Maniac aware of that push that only seems to continue. Again, despite being down in man count, Seattle, they're just looking to stay together, trying to find those picks and really put those Krigs to use. Able to free up some space, get some real estate, and that bomb goes down from Looney.
Yeah, now it's a 4v3 retake for the Minnesota RØKKR. You're going to have Gunless versus Major Maniac trying to push out this laundry side. Here comes his teammate in Octane trying to help him. But all the players from Minnesota RØKKR flanking the backside. Looney able to take down one. He's going to get traded by Accuracy. Octane able to line it up with the 2v2 now. Accuracy going to push up towards this left side laundry. 20 seconds are going to be remaining. Octane going to be able to take down Attach in the top window. Octane trying to take down Accuracy. Now it's a 1v1. Gunless is making the great heads-up play here. Zasha just play the clock. Should be able to take out Accuracy here in any second. But that's a great first round out of Seattle, man. They ended up getting first-blooded, but they still make the round winnable. And that's exactly what they do, just winning their gunfights when they need to. Great first offense out of the Surge.
Definitely, my friend. Like, yeah, I thought for a moment it was not looking good for Seattle because obviously Pristini drops for the first blood. Then in my mind, I was like, okay, they might run into a few problems, but there isn't really a whole lot of focus inside of Art. Priest, I think he had somewhat of an angle toward P5 from pillars, but really just in general, they focused well. They got some map presence. They made sure that laundry and a little bit of jungle were clear, and from there they gave themselves some space, and really in the attempt to retake, RØKKR, they just couldn't really get a whole lot going. And that's a good sign if you're a Seattle fan. Really just kind of wipe that first game out of your memory. Focus on some search and destroy because you're going to have to continue with that prowess as the game continues because of how good this RØKKR team has been at search and destroy, specifically Major Maniac and Priesta. Really just filling the stat sheets. And that's a nice angle from Pristini. We actually saw one a few weeks ago. Pretty much just aiming through the statue, can get that line sight on the top mansion. Gunless is able to get one in sequence as well. An instant 2v4 for RØKKR. And not in the greatest of positions considering that Gunless is watching their back door. I think Priest is trying to get up close and personal. Attach is able to get a little bit of space. Now, last man alive, Dylan Attach. But a lot of search and destroy tournaments, a lot of search and destroy rounds clocked in, but a little bit too difficult when you got three players knowing exactly where your position is.
Yeah, man. The Seattle Surge right there, their defense was beautiful. You had Gunless sitting towards kitchen. You had Pristini push up towards that P5, play towards those water steps. He was able to open up with a great angle first blood on the Accuracy. But then you saw him, he shot from water steps. and baited the player out at Zig that gave Gunless that free kill. Major Maniac peeked it, thinking that that player from Water Steps is going to turn the corner. That was just great communication out of the Surge right there to win that round. Now they're going to be going into an offense. They're going to completely switch up pace right now. They're going to decide to bring this over towards A. A couple shots are going to go into accuracy, into that top pocket. Going to force him down. But this is an open A planner. They decide to take it.
Actually has to be careful. I was going to say kind of playing that island position over at basketball. Gunless is going to drop him with the Krig, which only continues to make more of a presence, especially in these search and destroys. Major Maniac tries to go for a quick peek, and Gunless is going to be able to get the bomb down for Seattle. Can he make it 2? Thankfully, that trophy is going to help him out, but really somewhat of a collapse starting to be made. If you look at player 4 and Priesta, could definitely cause some issues. Able to find the first one, that being Looney. 3 versus 2 for Seattle. Time somewhat on their side, but the nice pick from afar. Major Maniac able to do it, and now it all falls to the human turret. Sam LaRue, they line up, but not enough time. Not enough time for Sam, really, or rather for Octane to be able to hold on to. As that is going to be RØKKR able to put in the defuse, and they'll put up their first.
Priesta had such a big round right there. It was a 4v3. He catches Pristini, trying to be that flanker, pushing toward that opposite bomb site, was able to pick up him. Then he goes around the flank, able to pick up another kill, but he wraps back towards his team to making sure that he's able to at least play the trade or just team fire the last opposing player. Great rounds out of Priesta, currently on a 3 spree. Now they find themselves down 1-2 in this map number 2. Do they decide to play the same exact offense that they played, or do they switch it up? And it's looking like they're just going to commit towards this B-push once again.
B-push again for RØKKR. Pristini, Priesta has the opportunity to meet for a moment, but it's actually going to be Pristini who takes down Attach from the flank. A great start yet again for Seattle. And somewhat of a spread for the ARs. Accuracy drops. Now it's all going to be on a Major Maniac in a 1 versus 4. And you just see the minimap, the arrows starting to converge over at that white van. Seattle, they grab another.
Yeah, I did not like that round out of Minnesota RØKKR right there. They had 2 players at that A bomb site. They had 1 player playing mid and 1 player at that B bomb site. They were both playing island players in the opposite 2, but they're both submachine gun players, Accuracy and his teammate. They both decide to push up and be aggressive towards Laundry side, and eventually they get taken down. I would like to see them just take their time and at least gain some information on the map, but that's going to cost them that round there. Now, they're going back in on defense. They just clutched a 4v3 clutch in their previous one. Major Maniac currently sitting at 1-4 for the Minnesota RØKKR. Do they decide to play aggressive towards Ring? Try to eliminate this B-bomb site, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do, but all the callouts from Accuracy are going to come in. He should be able to pick up a couple. Able to open up with the first blood on the Gunless. Has the information that there is a player on bomb, but he's doing exactly what he needs to, man. Just stay alive. Slow enough time for your teammates to try to get back to you.
And Looney actually decided to take a dip. Tries to go for the quick challenge on Accuracy, who pretty much just tries to buy his teammates some time overall, and based off of that, they've now got somewhat of a presence over here. Seattle starting to feel the pressure of being trapped as Major Maniac commits for the pinch, and now Pristini left in a 1 versus 4 himself. Really, when both teams have started off well, they just continue, right? And they continue to play off of the numbers. We've seen Seattle do that on a number of different occasions, but okay. Pristini able to drop 2, currently riding a 4 streak. Still, the task is not done. Attach and Priesta still to walk through. Again, that bomb drops earlier from Looney. And it's going to be right over at that A bomb site. He's going to know exactly that it's there. Attach goes for the reach-out, and he is going to win it. A solid attempt coming through from Pristini, but it's a no-go. Definitely deserving of the best play, because this was a great sequence and really a perfect call. You said, hey, he's got to be influential kind of toward this P5 side. Obviously is somewhat influential in regards to the round, because it's never going to be easy, of course, in a 1v4, but Pristini firing like that is always a good sign for Seattle.
Yeah, especially after the map that he had on that map number 1. You need this guy. He's an emotional player. He plays off of emotions, so when he's feeling hot, he's feeling hot. And so far, he's trying to give that answer back for his team, especially not having such a good first map. He was trying to clutch up that 1v4, but eventually got taken down. That play was all on Accuracy, man. Just getting the information and staying alive for his team. But it's looking like Minnesota RØKKR this time decide to switch it up. Have all their players over towards this B-bomb site. And trying to play aggressive towards Laundry. Here comes Looney trying to go for the trade, able to take down Pristini. Now it's attached, able to get the trade onto Looney. We're going to find ourselves in a 3v3 situation. Looking like Seattle Surge are all trying to break through middle map. What are Minnesota RØKKR going to do to try to hold?
And really, obviously, based off Concaster, we can somewhat point out where the arrows are coming in. But if you're Minnesota, you have to be somewhat aware of the angle given the freedom over at B. They have to be pushing their way through Art, and it looks as if Accuracy is going to find one over at Ring. Can he make it too? And he will. Last player alive, couldn't really do much either. As the RØKKR commit, again, kind of doing something a little bit different. They forced everybody this time onto the site, and it clearly works out, issuing all of their players toward Ring, and Accuracy having a nice little highlight play there toward the end.
Yeah, so the way that the Seattle Surge are playing their defenses is they have one player who's just scouting towards that B-bomb site. He's going to call out a couple players if they're going towards that direction. But Minnesota RØKKR, they have known how Seattle Surge want to play their defenses. Basically, they're just stacking around middle map, making it easy rotations back and forth. So they decide to flood out a side. Eventually works out for their favor. Now we find ourselves tied at 3-3. And it's looking like Surge are going to do the exact same thing that Minnesota did this time. Trades are going to go in. 2v3 situation now for the Seattle Surge. Attached, able to kill another one. Now it's Gunless left in a 1v3.
The problem for Gunless is that really, just in general for Seattle, Pillars was wide open. I mean, Pillars was wide open. There's an easy attempt for a flank, and that's the issue with Raid from time to time, especially in Search and Destroy. When you're on your offenses, there's a lot of different angles that the defense have. That's one of the reasons why it's such a fan favorite, really, because of defense and offense. Both have good opportunities to make plays. We talk about Hardpoint, we talk about Control, we talk about S&D. Really, both sides have the opportunity to make some plays, and that's exactly the sequence that we see there. RØKKR able to capitalize and take the lead in this S&D. Again, Seattle have been playing very well up to this point. As we'll now get to see what the RØKKR have up their sleeves. It looks as if it is going to be an A push this time around, and already tagging up. Major Maniac stayed there. Pristini is going to have an easy first blood, a few seconds late, but he's still able to walk away with it. Bomb goes down. And now here comes the sequence from the Surge. Accuracy hanging out in top mansion. He's going to have a few different angles to look at. The first one being Pristini. He's actually able to stay alive for the time. Nade goes a little bit far over. Accuracy is going to be able to drop him regardless. So current 3 versus 3. Looney making his way through basketball court. Octane, the human turret, he and Gunless together trying to combine for a few shots. Priesta drops out. He gets traded. Accuracy in the meantime able to find the first pick. And now it's going to be 2 versus 1. Can Gunless make some magic happen? Drops the first, instantly fires, has to go for the defuse. And unfortunately, there's not enough time as Attach will give the RØKKR their 5th round.
Man, oh man, Minnesota RØKKR have answered back with 3 straight rounds in a row. They have been dominating so far on their offenses and their defenses. You can just tell the mid-game adjustments are all there. Even though their teammate ended up getting first blooded there, they rushed that bomb plant. They realized that it was throwing them completely off if you're the Surge. They decided to stack B there instead of stacking A. Get a free bomb plant. Then eventually you saw Pristini try to jump out and try to be aggressive towards that Tiki area, but Accuracy with some great shots from that top bedroom window was able to take him down. And eventually it all just comes down to the clock. Just staying alive, stalling enough time for your teammates to eventually just get some eyesight on bomb. Now they found themselves 1 round away from closing out this map number 2 and being up 2-0 in the series. You're going to have Priesta sitting around this laundry area, just taking his time. And I love the patience out of Surge this time. They decide not to be so aggressive, making sure they're watching pillars this time. So it's going to be a nice slow push from the Surge here.
Gunless is cautious of the flank. That is attached to, I believe right now is on a 5 streak. We usually don't talk about streaks in Search and Destroy, but Attach playing very well. Primary reason for why we've seen Minnesota win 3 straight. Pristini trying to find an angle, just gets tagged up, brought down to 30 HP, and that passive play is going to lead to a rotation. Again, Attach has been here the entire time, but in the meantime, a lot of fights going down, not just on Gunless, but in the overall scheme of things, it is going to be Seattle with man count advantage. Pristini able to take down Priesta from behind. Still having some problems with the Priesta thing. It's just, you know, you never thought you'd run into a problem like that, but similar names. Regardless, Seattle, they're able to stay up. They're able to stay alive. And again, Priesta able to find a kill here. Steady.
Yeah. Now it's 5-4. We're going into round number 10. Seattle Surge So far, their defenses have been all around middle map. They're just trying to control middle map so they can rotate to either Minnesota RØKKR. They've been changing pace the entire game. It's looking like they're going to commit towards a B rush once again. This time, you're going to change it up this time. You're going to have Gunless sitting at middle and Pristini being the only player at that B-bomb site. Minnesota RØKKR trying to use all their tacticals to try to work out towards back laundry. They're able to spot Gunless, but Looney's going to be able to take down Priest off bomb. Gunless is going to get traded. I don't really like that challenge out of Gunless there. Bomb carrier is going to be down, so it just gives you more time to work with. Octane with the bait kill onto Major Mania, able to take him down. Now it's a 2v3 situation for Minnesota.
2v3, longtime teammates, Accuracy and Attached together, but Pristini smells blood in the water. Accuracy's able to drop him, so now a 2 versus 2. And how about this 2 versus 2? Longtime teammates for RØKKR, longtime teammates for Seattle. Octane and Looney, a lot of history here as ARVAR. Octane's able to win it. Attach just able to get out of dodge. And a huge round if Seattle can grab it. Some early shots from Attach. Able to stay alive after taking down Looney 1v1. And Octane's prepared for it. And Octane will win it. A massive 1v1 for the Surge as their golden boy Octane able to lock up the 1 versus 1, and we have got ourselves a round 11.
Round 11. I cannot wait to see how this round's going to break down for us. I thought Attach was going to have this once he was able to pick up that kill onto Looney. Some great shots onto the human turret. Mr. Octane able to walk away with that huge 1v1 to keep his team alive in this map number 2. It's looking like RØKKR are going to be on offense. How are they going to decide to play this? Are Seattle going to stick to what they have been doing, which is stacking middle map, and it's looking like that's exactly what's going to do. Pristini is going to take control of P5 and work towards these water steps again. And he's unfortunately going to get taken down by Priesta. Now it's a 3v4 situation.
Gunless is able to trade, though. Gunless is able to trade. Pristini out for the rest of the game. And really, so is Priesta. Attach trying to go for the plant. Isn't going to be spotted for now. Looney wants to try to peek out, but just based off of the positioning for RØKKR, not a whole lot of freedom to be able to do so. We'll start to see a few arrows start to make their way forward. You've got player 8 hanging out as Accuracy finds Looney. Quick trade as Major Maniac shuts down one as well. Now it's all going to be on to Octane, able to drop one up close and can't find Accuracy from afar. It looked like the 2-piece may have been there, but RØKKR, they keep that search and destroy record, that search and destroy streak alive as it's Accuracy and Attach keeping things afloat. The Iceman able to take down the human turret for that final kill. I was going to say, for a moment, I thought that Attach was also going to be dropped, or rather Attach and actually both were going to be taken down, but they're able to stay up. RØKKR now find themselves up 2.
My, oh my, what an absolute treat map 2 was. RØKKR goes down, was it 1-3, then went up 5-3, then Seattle claws back, go to overtime. Iceman Lamar sitting up in apartment. They had no chance clearing him out of there. That was insane. Break it down a little bit, Icon. What did we see there? What went right? What went wrong for both teams? And how did we manage to swing our way back into this thing?
Well, first is Attach clutch like 3 rounds getting the last kill, which we were talking about. I couldn't believe that he eagle challenged so many of those at the end of rounds. He just popped out and he made it true. So that was first. Second, I was actually kind of surprised, and this is what I talked about before the map. I was surprised that they just gave mid to Pristini, because when he gets mid, he's just all over the place, and you never know where he's going to be. Seattle's planning down towards pool, and he's still over towards raid, shooting people in the back. He just he's all over the place. So I was a little bit surprised to see him have basically free reign over mid. But when it came down to it, I mean, and Octane too. Octane I couldn't believe that he won that round 10 when they met on stairs, and he won that gun battle with an AR against Attach. It didn't look like Attach missed any bullets.
No, Attach was, dude, it blew my mind. Attach picks off, I think it was Pristini in the pool, wraps to mid stairs, and he's pre-aiming exactly where Octane is going to be. and just sub versus AR somehow gets got. Octane, I mean, he's a very good player, but wow, what the heck? I didn't think we were going to round 11, and then we did. But luckily, I mean, the guys, like, it seemed like they had a hard time really establishing anything offensively at B. But that A side, like, the only time that our offense was in jeopardy on A site there was when somebody was able to get behind accuracy up in that apartment. So if Pristini is able to come back around and make some noise in the mid or behind him, you know, that's just, if you're able to stay up an apartment like that, offense is easy street. Accuracy went off. Shout out to Accuracy, who was in my fantasy lineup. I'm gonna be saying it all year, dude. I got him drafted, and he's been going off for me, dude. It's insane. And now we have a treat of a map 3 because we're going back to raid. So I mean, at first when the search started out, we started out like 1 and 3, not good, like not a good look for such a powerhouse search and destroy team. And you heard me say, I was like, maybe the reason I haven't seen RØKKR play raid search is because they don't like to pick it. I was like, but the boys showed really good resolve, and they were able to make those mid-round adjustments. Like I would literally pay so much money to hear the call-outs and the communication that Major Maniac was having to the team, calling the shots there to really pull them out of that slump, to go from 1-3 to 5-3. Like, yeah, it did go to round 11. It got a little dicey, but that's tough to do when you're down like that. So I don't know. What are you thinking for control here? Is this like a 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 CDL day? Could Seattle maybe pull the control icon? What do you think? How do they usually look on control? I haven't been following as closely.
It could be. It's tough. Actually, neither Minnesota nor Seattle have played this map in competition so far this year, but you're going to see that this is a little bit different. So a lot of times we've been talking about like garrison control, where if you get a team wipe mid-map, you're basically going to win the round, especially if you're on defense. This is a little bit more capable for offense just because, so A's down by pool, basically same exact spot where SND is. And if you get pushed up pool, and you start to get control over pool if you're on offense, and you get one person up towards cutout or towards money, then that's going to take the defense. It's going to spawn them all the way out towards jungle. So it's really easy to capture points once you win a team gun battle, and it's the same over towards ring. You get pushed up towards ring, you get a team gun battle, you get pushed up over towards laundry. It's going to take defense, spawn them all the way down towards basketball court. So this is one that's just a little bit different because in this game in particular, whether it's Moscow or any other map, Garrison, if you're on defense, you get a team gun wipe, you basically win a round. This one is a little bit more lenient towards offense. So I'm excited to see kind of what happens here, especially on rotations once somebody gets in trouble.
I think that's exactly the case. We saw during search there that, I mean, there was some sick Octane versus Accuracy 1v1s. That two-piece that Pristini got was insane. He got a kill at open, stairs, and then I don't know how, like, he took literally 4 shots, 2 from Major Maniac, 2 from Accuracy and Kitchen there. That was insane. I'm just excited to see, like, you know, can these AR just keep battling at it? So I'm excited to see if, you know, who's it going to come down to, the AR control of Octane, the AR control of Accuracy. And, you know, speaking from our match versus LA Thieves, I would personally not want to see Moscow Hardpoint. So if we could just do a quick 3-0 here today, that would be nice. But anyways, guys, we'll be back after this map. Please enjoy the raid control, and we'll see you soon.
We could see some good old Moscow Hardpoints. I mean, hey, it seems like it's so far away at this point, Study. What, the round 11 victory for Minnesota there, I feel like kind of makes things a little bit difficult, but as we take a look at our quick scope really, it kind of tells the tape for what has been this series, right? We come into this one saying RØKKR, they need to win a Hardpoint. They're finally able to do so. We know their prowess, we know their strength when it comes into search and destroy, keeping that streak alive, and I'm looking at that control for Seattle, hoping for a better record, but they have yet to win one.
Yeah, and if you're Seattle, your backs are completely against the wall. You're going into your worst game mode statistically, but there's always an answer to come back. This is that swing map series. This can be that potential map that's able to bring you back and force it to a game 5. I'm looking at players to step up, and I'm looking at Octane and Gunless, especially on a map like Raid. It's gonna be so many AR heavy maps. As long as you're just pushed up on certain ways, pushed up that water side underneath bedroom, pushed up the right side towards Yellow Lambo, you're gonna be influencing the spawns. I just can't wait to see how these guys are able to put it all together on this map. Hopefully have some energy fight into this to keep this series alive.
I mean, yeah, to start the year, everybody was, you know, whenever Seattle announced the addition of gunless, it was like, hey, and I know, you know, throughout a majority of last season, like we had that graphic that I know there was some heat about, you know, saying like, hey, you know, Octane needs help, right? Sam needs help. I mean, without a doubt, you have it in gunless, right? I mean, this guy, absolutely unbelievable, does not have the year that he wants to with Chicago last season, just with, you know, in-game stuff, in-game problems, whatever it may be, but to doubt Seattle Surge's firepower, at least with these two, would not be a smart call, at least in my eyes. Two guys you have to look out for. Again, though, RØKKR, another roster that was really kind of questioned coming into the year. Do they have too many ARs? Do they have enough slaying presence? Again, a lot of things to be proven, as it looks as if some control right now for Seattle, trying to get some time over at A. Pristini leading the way, able to drop one up close. Gunless falls. Priest is trying to get rid of all of that progress, and he's going to be able to do it, locking things up over at A. Well, Surge quickly looking to maybe make the rotation over at B. Looks as if they do lose Looney, so maybe a little bit of a transfer, a little bit of an audible being called in the middle of the map. Yeah, and you just see Minnesota RØKKR. They were able to ease that A push, and now they are fully set up to try to just continue to set up on these spawn kills. You're going to see Attach pushing down water steps, able to take down one. Last player is going to be Pristini. He has to stay alive towards water steps, but look at Priesta. So far pushed up on this yellow Lambo side, trying to fight two players at once. He's going to drop, but so much time has just been taken off the clock with Priesta making that play that he just did. Now it's looking like the Seattle Surge are going to have to commit towards this A point and try to work some ticks. 2 kills are going to go in their favor, but here comes Priesta once again, doing exactly what his team needs him to do. They are giving up this A point at this point, but he's pushing them all the way underneath bedroom to force those spawns for them to spawn at gym and make them just consistently try to just run forward through this raid or push through middle map. So far, 16-16 in lives for both teams. Minnesota RØKKR trying to do everything they can to just keep them out of their base. And RØKKR kind of are betting on themselves. They actually do set up somewhat of a pinch. Priesta does get dropped. So it was a good opportunity for RØKKR. It was kind of all focused in on that push through jungle. Seattle able to regroup. They've got 4 strong. And they are going to be looking at someone like Pristini to try to quickly go in here for the pick. Trying to get an angle, but Major Maniac happens to be at their flank, hanging out in top mansion, and now's the opportunity for Priesta to go big. He does end up getting taken down, but still, 27 seconds left. Major Maniac not getting dropped. Finally, he does. And really, if you are the Surge, you can get maybe 3, if not 4 down. It can be bad for the RØKKR, but they are not going down without a fight. Time continuing to tick away. Pristini trying to stay up. Priesta's going to be there for the drop. Looney also gets taken down as well. The Surge trying to rifle in players, trying to just put in as many as they can, attach from the front, accuracy from the back. A few seconds left, and there is not going to be enough time for Seattle as the RØKKR, they hold on strong, put the Surge in a difficult spot early. They try to bait him pretty much into going for that back jungle push, and they never really got the momentum over at Tiki. They're stuck. Yeah, and I love the way that the RØKKR just played that. They completely are just giving up the point and realizing this is what we got to do to win this round. They send Major Maniac towards bedroom. He completely is just forcing all the players from the Seattle Surge to run through P5, run through that raid, and unfortunately, they're just going to continue to get chopped down. And then you saw accuracy just completely finesse that rock, just staying alive the entire time with multiple players from the Seattle Surge trying to take him down. Great defensive round so far out of the RØKKR. Now let's see how they are able to spawn on this offense. Big round for Seattle primarily. Obviously could be one that could change the entire tide of this series. They go 3 down in the midst of some of this chaos. Let's actually go to an Astro Gaming listen-in with the Surge.
Hey, by the way, one push up Andre that I saw.
Yeah, he's blue man heady, blue man heady. More blue man heady.
I'm already back. I'm already back here. I'm trying to hold the back here. In the back, Preston, 1 bullet.
They're hitting back in middle. They're hitting back in middle. They're hitting back in middle.
Fuck, I'm trying to get middle. I'm getting middle. One middle. I hear him kitchen.
They're all 4 on you guys.
Yeah, they're gonna be in the back here.
Yeah, I'm getting shot. Got one.
Staying alive. 2 more here. 2.
Nice first.
Kitchen, last guy. 4. Good job.
They're gonna re-hit that, maybe?
No, it's one here. Picking it up.
He can be close on you. I'm watching only back door. I hear him.
Nothing here. One here. Just some white van. 2 white van. Got one. Another one white van. White van, last guy. He's been.
Yo, Preston, I can't hear you on the T-Street.
4. We're dead. Oh fuck, my bad. Here, we have front bed.
One charge on me, one charge on me.
Yeah, drive.
I'm hitting reinforced bed. Make sure we reinforce bed.
Yeah, I'm getting back to bed. I'm getting back to bed.
Yeah, they're hitting me on art. They're hitting me on art.
I'm looking over you. Have your cross. Have your cross
Yeah,
right now.
attachments
Let's have your cross. Let's have your cross. Don't cross.
I'm looking your outer, Preston.
I'm on you. Are they middle peeking?
I
Have your cross. Let's have your cross.
Yeah.
Cross.
Yeah,
Cross.
over
Got him.
I put a trophy down.
Are they middle?
No, you're over here first. Over here.
RØKKR, they grab the A point fast and early, still have a decent amount of time on the clock throughout that listen and study with Surge. I think it was Looney who called up Pristini saying, hey man, I don't know if you're muted, but I can't hear you. And Pristini goes, oh, my bad. So not the greatest situation in regards to the comms, but hey, in terms of this defense, they've been holding on well despite losing that 8 point pretty fast.
Yeah, man, it's been a phenomenal round out of Looney specifically. Him being pushed up bottom bedroom, forcing all the players from Minnesota RØKKR to spawn towards that raid, towards Jim's side, and just try to just consistently just run forward. Looney was just being such a nuisance in their base. Eventually, he was gonna drop, but he was able to play his life so well, just forcing all those spawns, just stalling enough time for his teammates, just focus on all the kills in the back, and you heard the communication. They were just like, Gunless, you sit here, don't worry, I'm gonna continue to spawn him here. Looney even said it when they were wrapping back, he heard him in his headset, so great plays out of Looney. But unfortunately, they find themselves in a situation where Minnesota RØKKR are on this B point. So far, they have a tick and a half done. They need to try to break in quick.
They got to do so. Looking at Pristini, at least from the flank, has to try to make a play, gets up close and personal. He ends up getting taken down by Attach. Gunless trying to make somewhat of a push through money. Seattle look to try to hold on. That's at least one tick through. Second one is Attach, able to drop what's now 3 in a row. Player 6, Pristini, still is here, but the last, possibly the saving grace for Seattle, and that is going to be it. Oh my goodness, Minnesota RØKKR are able to lock this one up. I tell you what, for a moment, it looked like Seattle had something going. It looked like it could have been their time, but I mean, what, really kind of toward the comms, I was giving a lot of props, and, you know, despite Pristini's might be muted, Seattle, at least for the time, looked like they were in a good position. But they quickly go 3, if not 4 down, spawning toward that back laundry area. And really, whenever you lock down, you get 4 down over at that point. It is so difficult to get back toward that control area. And Surge, they run into that issue. They run into that problem. And RØKKR, they find themselves up 2-0. A huge loss for the Surge, as they have got more than enough work to do coming into this next control round.
Yeah, if you're the Seattle Surge, that last round is going to be eating you. And it's definitely showing right off the rip. 3 are going to go down, 4 go down for the Seattle Surge, and you already see that number 2 player in Attach, cutting off the players, trying to rotate towards that B point. You heard one run right by him, but he's just setting up for these other players. Able to take down 1. There's 2 players around him still. Trying to finesse, unfortunately, he's going to drop. Now, this is the opening for the Seattle Surge to push up towards B, but here goes the second line of defense, and Mr. Priesta at the water steps. Accuracy also there to help him. Able to take down Octane. Time is ticking. Wow. Big win onto Looney right there, but 2 are going to drop for the Minnesota RØKKR. This could be the opening that the Seattle Surge need.
Very well could be. We just saw Seattle kind of struggle when they started to go down 3 or 4 players. Now it looks as if the RØKKR are going to have to try and rebuild themselves. Able to drop Priesta coming in from money window. Pristini, farthest pushed up player. Can he take down Accuracy? At least for the time, Accuracy hanging out in basketball court. Surge, for now, made a little bit of progress. However, 30 seconds left, and if you're talking about ticks, they've got nothing to show for it. And Major Maniac.
Here goes Major Maniac.
The play for Major, causing some issues. Looney has to back out. Octane now is the sole man inside of the point. They do have a tick, but that is about it. 26 seconds, and Surge, they're going to go ahead and issue their forces elsewhere, going 3 strong now over at A. That's going to be the second tick. Actually going to try to cause some problems from Laundry. And really this only looks to continue, it seems, for the time. Attached, however. Maybe an opportunity for the flank. Able to take down 1. That's going to be actually Pristini who falls. He was trying to make the aggressive play due to him dropping that keeps Priesta alive for the time. Chaos ensuing throughout the map as that A point is going to be captured from Seattle. A minute on the clock, and that's going to be 3 down now for RØKKR. Priesta, everybody is actually going to spawn up closely toward that back kitchen. So they're still going to be somewhat near Seattle. They need to keep this momentum alive, as that's going to be 1, possibly 2 for Looney. Runs out of ammo. Actually does get dropped, so that money window, a major power position, is going to stay open, and Attach wins the fight. Attach wins the fight. Player 8, Gunless, the last player alive inside of the point. trying to do everything himself, able to find one. A few more seconds left, and this point is theirs. 50 seconds left, and the Surge are going to have to try this one again. Pristini making some waves through mid-map. RØKKR, can they hold again? 40 seconds on the clock. Surge, now is their chance, possibly their final opportunity.
They just need one push. 9-9 in lives remaining for both rosters. Octane able to open up with the first kill onto Accuracy. Now Accuracy's coming up strong. Pristini with the second. This can be the opening they need. Are they going to be able to find Major Maniac on the point? Yes, they do. Priest was able to take down Looney, but it does not matter. Gunless and Octane are doing everything they can to try to secure this point. They only need one tick, and Seattle Surge are able to walk away with this offensive win.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness, buddy. I was worried we were going to see another 3-0 in control. We were at least given another round. But in all seriousness, really just, well played in the later stages. Attach, I thought that play in Money Window where he stays alive, that was going to be the one play that Seattle wishes they could have had back, that maybe kind of put the nail in the coffin. But Surge, they are able to rebound, riding the wave into this next round of control. And we'll see maybe what the strategy looks like really off the rip here for their defense. When we talk about Raid, a lot more offensive flexibility. The defense definitely is getting their workout in, and one of the fastest on the map is going to be Pristini. He's coming into this next round really with a 4 streak. As a few begin to fall, that's RØKKR now in the back of their base. Gunless was aware of it. A 2-man push really coming over at B, trying to get some mid-map control, but Octane is there to beam Priesta. So good plays from Surge early as they need to keep really, again, these plays flowing right now.
Yeah, so far, great defensive hold from the Seattle Surge. 2 players are going to drop as I say that, but with Gunless getting that kill, it should force all the players from Minnesota RØKKR to spawn closer towards that 8 point. So if you're the Seattle Surge, you're going to just basically give this up. You have lives advantage right now, currently up by 3. It's all about just pushing up towards that water side and just forcing them to spawn on the opposite side of the map. And you see that number 8 player, which is going to be Gunless, pushed up bottom bedroom, just taking his time. He knows that all the players from Minnesota RØKKR are going to try to work around the backside, force these players to spawn behind them at laundry instead of at basketball court. Let's see how they decide to do this. Accuracy just taking his time, trying to work around the back. But Octane, the human turret, is going to be perfectly set up, able to win 2. Looney's going to get traded by Major, but so far, good hold out of Seattle Surge.
Solid start. Octane does get dropped, and really because of those spawns, you do see Seattle try to set up toward Mansion. And Gunless is going to stay alive, but toward the back end, it's Major Maniac. He also drops. Again, because of Gunless's position, it's going to keep that spawn toward Garage. First wave done. As Minnesota will now continue to hone in over at this B point. A few nice picks early for Seattle. Is just going to try to delay things, right? That's what you want to do at this point if you're Surge. Just try and delay. No progress whatsoever at B yet for the RØKKR. They got a few guys actually going over toward P1 over at Ring to try to make a few sequences occur here. But it has been somewhat of a standstill up to this point. One player decides to rush on in, that being Gunless. And if you're a RØKKR, you'll take any pick that you can get, at least for the time. Priesta tries to clear out water steps. Now the time begins to tick. One player still alive. It's actually going to be Looney. He ends up getting dropped, though, and this is starting to get a little bit scary for the Surge. They cannot go down in these major sequences. Can they stay up? Octane takes down 2 from Basketball. A nice play early from Surge. That's 3 down in the feed.
Yeah. The Surge do a great hold right there. They had Octane and Pristini both win their one-on-one gunfights at that B point. 15 seconds are remaining for the RØKKR to try to push on towards that B point. It's 13-7 in lives. It's looking like this is going to go to a round number 5. Phenomenal defense out of the Seattle Surge. Definitely great plays out of Gunless, being pushed up all the way Water Street with that assault rifle. Just picking up kills left and right. But it was also on Octane, just holding the back. And Pristini and Looney holding middle. Just great team pushes, great team setup for the Seattle Surge to force it to a round number 5.
Yeah, I think for me, at the start of the control, really constantly it was, hey, Minnesota are able to sneak through here. Minnesota are able to get a few pinches in play here and there. And I think when Seattle are able to clear the map away, they stop that kind of backside position push, and they just allow for, or rather Seattle is just able to kind of slow the game down. that's really where things started to kind of play into their hand, as they will force it to a round number 5. Minnesota, they win it. This one is done. A 3-0 to close out the day. But Serge, can they send us to our first Game 4 of the day? 2 3-0s in a row. We don't want to see that happen again.
I simply just don't understand their defensive hold so far. They're just giving up this A point right off the rip. They only had one player try to save it. I thought Pristini was going to flank through Zig and eventually flank Art, but he decided to flank Water Street and take that one player out that was at B. Now Minnesota RØKKR, they have full control of mid-map. And this can get real scary for the Surge. They need to be able to fight out of this quickly. 3 players are going to be in kitchen, pushing around the backside. You're going to have Looney set up, waiting for his teammates. But here comes Octane to set up that crossfire. Pristini able to take down the second. Now they have Minnesota RØKKR exactly where they want them, besides Attach. Are they going to be able to find Attach in this money window, or is he going to be able to make that play? It's looking like Pristini's able to spot him. Looney's able to spot him, but he gets taken down there. So Attach is doing everything he can to just stay alive in kitchen, knowing that his teammates are basically spawn trapped with all those players on the Surge pushed up on water side. He needs to try to stay alive and make a play and keep control of his kitchen area.
Attach hanging out on a few racks at that point. Priest, can he get the second? He does. A good sequence there for a moment as that point is wiped away. Attach, the last man alive, does get dropped from the end. So if you're looking at that mini-map, on the far side is where we see the spawns. And RØKKR, really with a minute 15 on the clock, are going to try to spread this one out. They do not want to get trapped here toward that back garage angle. So player 4 in Priesta does win his fight. So that is going to free up at least one lane of the map. But for Surge, you're just trying to keep the pedal to the metal. You're trying to keep that foot on the gas. And that's what we're seeing, at least for now. Priesta, again, the only player really pushed up for the team, has made his way toward the backside of the spawn. So you're looking at RØKKR to try to get something going. Here comes the push, actually inside a kitchen. So they should be aware of this. Surge should be aware of the fact that the garage no longer really a primary angle of focus. But here comes Octane's opportunity, able to drop one. On the other end, the AR for RØKKR. Accuracy's able to find it, and there goes a few down. There goes a few down for Surge. Instantly off the challenge, Priest is able to win it. Can the Surge get here in time? That's one tick. There's the second. Here comes Octane from the skies. Can he win it onto Attach? There's one. Pristini there for a possible trade. He also ends up getting taken down. Accuracy wins the fight, but Looney is still alive, and Seattle just barely are going to keep themselves in it for the moment. Lives starting to become somewhat of a problematic situation. 25 seconds left. Major Maniac looking to try to find a pick. That's your opportunity for RØKKR. You find the pick, and you're in a much better position. Can they get a few down? Priesta makes his way through the water. Accuracy at the same time is able to find the second, and that's actually going to be the worst possible situation for Seattle, as there goes one more, and RØKKR will close this one out in round 5. It looked good for Surge. In fact, it looked great for Surge. And what a moment there for Minnesota toward the stretch. They just narrowly get the amount of players down that they needed, and they're able to win it in what needed to be a close game, but it was not close enough for the Surge. And there we have it. Another W for the RØKKR, and our third 3-0 of the day, Steady.
Oh my God, I could not believe the Surge just threw that away. They were perfectly set up. They had Gunless and Pristini both set up at that bedroom area, just killing all the players trying to wrap back. Eventually, they dropped from the backside. It wasn't even Gunless and Pristini dying in the front of bedroom. It was Octane and Looney dying towards kitchen, dying in the backside of that basketball court that gave Minnesota the opening that they needed. And unfortunately, if you're the Seattle Surge, this one is going to sting, because you had basically every single defensive round just came down to a couple plays that just weren't in sync together. And if you're the Seattle Surge, man, I know this one, it hurts. This one definitely hurts, because those defensive rounds could have went your way. We could be going to a map 4, but Minnesota RØKKR, you have to be feeling great about them, man. Winning their very first hard point, winning the search and destroy in such a close fashion, and even clutching up towards the end of that control. Great series overall.
Yeah, 32 and 28 for both Attach and Priesta. Obviously, we talk about those guys a lot when it comes down to a mode like Control, especially kind of in these close quarter situations. They obviously go big. And Steady, I thought we were going to have a map 4. I mean, for a moment, I thought that we had it. I thought that we were going to finally have a game 4. Minnesota is there to spoil things. I mean, obviously, as you called it, a number of different situations to point out, a number of different angles to kind of keep in mind as we'll go and take a look at our scuff play of the game in this control. Really, it's going to come down to this final sequence in the final round, the plays that the RØKKR are able to make. And I'll be honest, I think I actually started to lose my mind for a moment. I actually started to actually lose some air in my lungs because of the way that this sequence was going down. Again, you called it so well, my friend. Just the plays that they were able to make from the RØKKR's perspective, getting that control, especially of that back end as you labeled it. And then I think it was Priesta through the water side who was able to at least open things up, causes some chaos, and that's the issue at this speed point. If you're on defense late, you go down 2-3 players, you're not going to get those guys back.
Yeah, so Looney, he made a tremendous play there. He ended up saving the point. And then now it forces Minnesota RØKKR to try to just completely hit this with no hesitation because obviously they know it's the last round. They have to try to capture the point to win. Now, unfortunately, Octane was in money window. Pristini decided to go for the super ultra mega flank. Don't really understand that one, but Gunless was sitting at water steps. Once Looney and Octane both dropped on that side of the map, it was just way too late for Gunless and Pristini to work around the backside. Minnesota RØKKR, they just played that beautifully. They knew exactly what they needed to do. 3 go down, you put 3 on the point, start ticking these ticks off on that B point, and eventually they close it out with some great comms, some great calls from the entire team. It had to be some good call-outs because the way that they just played that was absolutely flawless in the remaining 30 seconds. So congratulations to them on a tremendous series and winning their very first hardpoint of the entire season.
That's absolutely right, man. It didn't look like it. It didn't look like that was their first hardpoint win of the season, but they're able to do it, obviously improving that record of 2-1. Let's go and take a look at our road to the major. Still a lot of games to come, but we've already made a decent amount of progress to start things off. Legion, they're able to come away with their first victory. The Subliners come away with their first. And obviously continuing things over in Group Alpha. The RØKKR now improved to 2-1, now sitting in the second spot in regards to the standings. And obviously, if you're looking at this, you're a little bit worried. Hey, we still have a ton of games to come. I think if I'm correct, 15 more throughout the remaining days that we have. So there is still a lot of Call of Duty to be played. We're going to see a very, very decent amount of these teams start to kind of shift. But tell you what, man, Group Bravo, you got every single team outside of Atlanta FaZe with 1 victory. That one surely is going to come down to the wire. We talked about in-game rewards. You can earn them too, folks. Make sure to be tuned in, right? You can walk away with some awesome things. I think Miles has been talking about, hyping himself up, talked all the nice little attachments and little, extra things that he has on his weapons. It's nice, right? And you get obviously the cash stack, weapon charm, double XP, a lot of awesome things. Make sure to be earning those rewards, folks, when you're watching CDL Super Week. There's a lot of Call of Duty to be played, and that means there's a lot of rewards to be earning as well. Oh boy. My goodness. A number of different great matchups today, but all of them ending in a 3-0. Study, I hope the curse is over by tomorrow at the very least, but still, had a good control at the very least, which makes me feel a little bit better to close out the day. I'm going to be standing by with Major Maniac for our post-game interview. Stay with us as we'll be back right after this.
That is what you absolutely love to see, a 3-0 coming in from Minnesota RØKKR. Hold on, guys. I don't know why my light changed behind me, but let me put it on that victory purple, baby. Let's go. Check it out. You see, we got the victory purple going on. Let's go. A 3-0 versus Surge Icon. RØKKR played really well, obviously, but who would you pick, one player from RØKKR who's the MVP of that match right there?
I don't know if I can pick one. I think I can maybe pick 2. I think the SMG duo there of Attach and Priesta were just absolutely massive. We talked about the AR matchup and Flex matchup and how Gunless had been frying. Octane has been playing okay. Not the Octane of old, but he's been playing pretty decent. But the advantage was there, especially with what Attach has done so far this year. And Priesta finally showed up. Not that he's been playing bad, but he hasn't been this Priesta yet this year. So my MVPs go to that SMG duo. I really think they led the way.
I agree. I would pick Attach, but Priesta also came in massive. I would argue in the first, especially the LA Thieves match, it was just Priesta with 1 H, but he's back. Priesta with 3 H's today, just going absolutely off. I got a little bit nervous, I will admit, when we lost a defense and then an offense there to push that into overtime on control raid there. But, you know, obviously the guys, I mean, they're able to clutch up. You know, Major Maniac had a tough map on the final map, but the rest of the team just played so well, so fundamentally sound. And Surge has got to be hurting after that one because that was a winnable map for them right there. By all accounts, we should be going into Moscow Hardpoint if maybe Pristini doesn't go all the way around town there. But so I'm hyped, dude. That's a great way to start Super Week. Are you kidding me? With a 3-0 over Seattle Surge, we are now 2-1 in the league. It looks like CDL is about to do an interview with a player. I think it's going to be Major Maniac. So I would love to hear what he has to say. Let's hear what he says, and then we'll be back after this.
RØKKR certainly come to play.
They can't stop it. They can't stop the kid. They can't stop it.
Whoa, Priesta, disgusting. Accuracy's there, nice kill. Bang! Major Maniac, 200 IQ, 10 out of 10 play. Oh my word! Attach is going to save the day. RØKKR are kings of the north.
It's your Victory Spotlight presented by Game Fuel. I'm Lando, and joining me is Major Maniac from the Minnesota RØKKR. Buddy, what, a great victory there, one of the 3 3-0s that we had today. I know what we actually had an opportunity, I think it was after Game 1 Hardpoint, to listen back to your guys' victory versus rather after your guys' victory versus the Dallas Empire. And I think it was you in the comms who basically said, guys, that was great, but maybe if we could just win a Hardpoint, that would be ideal. So walk me through it.
Yeah.
How happy were you for you guys to get a Hardpoint victory here, your first one?
Yeah, so going into that series, we're definitely super confident with how the vetoes went. Checkmate is one of the good maps for Respawn, especially for our team. Going into that, like, Checkmate specifically, there's just a few things that over the course of the last few weeks we've been working on in scrims, things like that across the board. After that Dallas loss on that map, obviously we watched that VOD back and discussed things we could work on and progress on as a team. So going into that series, we were definitely super confident in the respawns. Obviously just prepping for this Super Week as a team. So yeah, we ended up coming out on the hard point. There was really good rotations out of us, good holds. And we worked really well as a team. A lot of good directing across the entire board, not just one person. So I think that's super important as well.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And I'm glad that you actually brought up kind of the schedule side of it because, you know, obviously from, you know, a broadcast perspective, everyone's thinking, okay, cool, we got a lot of Call of Duty to watch. But at the same time, there's a lot of Call of Duty for you guys to prepare for. You got a number of different teams to face off against as week 2 and week 3 kind of mesh. And then it's like, hey, the major's next week. What has kind of that process and really that practice kind of been for you guys leading up versus the amount of teams? Has it been a lot of hours? I know with power outages, like I know Attach was pretty vocal on social media, like he was going over to Zuma's apartment just to stay warm. How has that process been for you guys kind of throughout this last week?
It was a little difficult with having no power, no water, things like that. But me personally, as a player, as a competitor, I absolutely love the idea of the Super Week. If I could play a Call of Duty competitive match every day, I think I would. So I'm a big fan of it. It's the most fun thing about all of this is just competing in a competitive tournament setting against the best teams in the league. So, I mean, for me personally, I thoroughly enjoy it. In terms of prepping, yeah, it's a little bit extra work, but just like any player, if you ask, we play every single day, we scrim every single day. Outside of scrims where people are building their own brands, they're streaming on their own time. So I don't think the scheduling of like how much time they put in is really going to change much because of the Super Week. I think it's just more competitive Call of Duty to play, which I think is a good thing. So.
Absolutely, man. More COD is what I like to hear. That's for sure. Well, it's been great that obviously things have been working out. It's obviously been great to chat with you. Got one more question before we do end things out for the day. I know we've been talking about preparation. Subliners, next matchup for you guys on Thursday. They also played today. They walked away with a very solid 3-0 victory as well. How do you guys feel coming into that particular matchup?
Like I said, I'm super confident against any team. Their match today versus London, which is the other team we'll play towards the end of the week, was a really good, convincing 3-0. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to play that match. We just had a good series versus Seattle. So, yeah, we'll just see what happens.
Love that. We
Whoever
actually
comes to play.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We have a nice little full-screen graphic. Coach Brian Saint, big 3-0. Obviously happy for the team. I know it's obviously a big victory for you guys, considering, again, Super Week and all the things that obviously come into it. Major, it's been great to chat with you, my friend. Any comments for the fans, the RØKKR fans have been cheering you guys on?
Yeah, of course, man. We love the fans. We appreciate all you guys' support. I personally read everything that's sent to me, so all that love, support is really appreciated, and we're going to come and keep trying to win these series for y'all.
Absolutely,
I appreciate it, Landon.
Absolutely. Of course, my friend. And of course, that is our victory spotlight presented by Game Fuel. Major Maniac, thank you so much for joining me, and go get some rest. Go get some lunch in, some dinner in. I don't really know, but obviously you got a lot of games to come, and wish you guys obviously the best. Folks, we got to take a look at our U.S. Army schedule coming into tomorrow. Obviously, a lot of games played today, but there are still even more to come. I promise you, we're taking a look tomorrow, Wednesday, February 24th. We're starting off the day, Empire taking on the Royal Raven.
And we are back for the co-stream post-show breakdown. Obviously, guys, we just 3-0'd Seattle Surge. It wasn't pretty all the way at the end there in the control raid, but other than that, I mean, really, really smooth series from the guys. Icon, let's break it down a little bit. Talk about what went well in the hardpoint for RØKKR, and what did you notice, where we were able to really just do right in that map one to really set the tone for the series.
Yeah, really, you're talking about setting the tone for the series. It was really the very first hill. It was on P1. Minnesota got bad spawn. Initially, they won the team gun battle in the middle of the map. Right away, they flipped over towards the right side of the map for P2. And then from there, they won P2, P3, P4, P5, went up by 100, and that really set the tone. Even though Seattle did come back a little bit, second set of rotations on checkmate, it wasn't enough, and they really set the tone right from the get-go, the very first hill on that first hard point.
Yeah, it was really impressive to me. I mean, they got off to a hot, fast start on map 1. And then, obviously the map 2 went a little different than I think any of us could have predicted. Seattle took a really early 3-1 lead in the raid search and destroy. But obviously the mid-game adjustments were coming through for the guys. They were able to win 4 straight rounds. Ultimately did go to round 11, but the guys clutched up, and you could argue that there was 1 or 2 rounds where they could have won it even sooner. So I was really impressed to see them. We haven't really seen them look down in a search and destroy like that. I think maybe their hardest search test was against Toronto when it was not even like an official match. So it was really good to see them bounce back in that official match, come through with the major plays on search and destroy. You picked kind of your MVPs for the match in, Attach and Priesta. If I had to pick one, I would say Attach, just because of the multiple massive plays that he had. If you look at the search, the control, and then he was a fry guy. Map 1, it was kind of nuts. So it was really awesome to see. And then, let's talk a little bit more about that control, because that was the most exciting map of this series, in my opinion. Explain to people what maybe happened at the end there with Pristini trying to do a really big flank, which obviously if it would have worked, we would all be sitting here probably watching map 4 saying, wow, he made a great play. But why was that such a big error for him to do?
Yeah, so the beginning of that round 5, Minnesota was struggling because Pristini, and I think it was Octane, was pushed up over in the top apartments. And what that does is that takes your spawn from basically over towards that top side of the map by pool, and it puts you over by weights. So even if you get a couple kills over towards that control point, they're still going to spawn closer to that control point. So by the time you regroup and come back in. They're all set up again. So finally, they were able to get him out of there. And then as Pristini came up off of spawn, had he been 6 or 7 seconds faster, he would have been top apartments. They could have pinched Minnesota as they tried to push that control point. That's what he was trying to do. But he was just too late. As soon as Minnesota pushed up over towards that B control point, they were able to get 2 down. And as soon as those 2 went down, Pristini was all the way back by garage. He was just too far away. By the time he get back to apartments, they 3-stacked the hill. The ticks came off super fast, and he ended up being a little bit too late. If he was 6-7 seconds earlier, he potentially could have won them the map, but he was too late, and it goes the other way.
It was a risky play. I mean, we saw him doing all kinds of flanking, getting through mid and search and destroy. So Pristini is just that guy. He's going to try to get behind you, be annoying, and be that thorn in your side. But luckily, the guys were able to win the trades on the point. And then, like you said, Pristini was a bit too late there. So good way to start Super Week 3-0. We are now, like I said, 2-1 in stage 1 here. We do have 2 more matches remaining for this stage, and then that will all lead to seeding for majors, which is, I thought we had a week off between this week and majors, but psych, no. Majors is next week already. We are flying through stage 1 here. So holy cow, if we look at the schedule, up next, Minnesota RØKKR plays New York Subliners on Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, hit like, all that stuff. We'll be back for more co-streams. You'll catch all the RØKKR matches right here with me and Icon. It'll be a good time. But I do, and then, I guess just to cherry on top, and then on Saturday for our final match of the stage, we play versus London Royal Ravens on Saturday at 3:30 Central Time. So, Icon, we're 2-1. We're tied up with LA Thieves. And I was looking at the LA Thieves remaining schedule. They have 2 very, I would say, predictably easy wins for them. They do still play Dallas. How do we lock either the number 1 or number 2 seed? Do we need to win out for that? Are we even at that point yet? Do we have to see how the games against New York goes? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the game against New York could throw a monkey wrench into thing, but like we actually talked about it a bit last night on the podcast. If you're thinking about the top 3 seeds right now, LA's 2-0 and Minnesota's 2-1 and Dallas is 1-1. So it looks like those top 3 seeds will all continue that until that last matchup between LA Thieves and Dallas. If Dallas beats LA Thieves and Dallas wins out and Minnesota wins out and LA wins out, that's going to have 3 teams in that group that are at 4-1. So when it comes to seeding, I don't know. Right now, LA Thieves looks good because they have a big lead when it comes to map count, but this matchup today for Minnesota helped because it added 3 to their wins. They have obviously added none to their loss column in terms of map count, but that match against New York could throw things off. If New York gets on a heater here, I'm not saying that they could win out because they have obviously a tough match with Minnesota. They also have a tough match with Dallas, but they could somehow make their way into maybe that 3 spot. I don't see it happening, but they looked really solid in their match. So it'll be interesting to watch. I think Minnesota probably earns an easy dub over London, but I'm excited for that New York match now all of a sudden.
Yeah, that New York match on Thursday, obviously they played London, they've been having a tough time, some instability with their starting lineup there, but New York Subliners, went really, really hot and heavy against London. Quickest 3-0. We were doing our audio video check, and we were like, we have to start. The match is over. They beat them so fast. It was kind of crazy. But they did lose to LA Thieves, but it was a really close 3-0. So yep. I don't know, maybe we have an advantage being that we did win a map versus LA Thieves, but it's hard to say. I think you're right. Our destiny is still 100% in our hands. If we are able to pull out a dub versus New York, or at the very least, keep it really close, go to map 5, we're still sitting pretty because we do play London on Saturday then, and then Majors starts next week, which I think probably for Thursday we'll work on showing a bracket of if it ended now, this is what the bracket would look like, because I think that'd be really cool. But I don't know. Do you think based on what we've seen from Subliners, obviously we played LA Thieves decently close, let's forget about the Hardpoints. Subliners played LA Thieves really close. We beat Empire. New York still has to play Empire. So do you think it all comes down to Thursday? Is that like we're putting a bunch of weight on that match and getting hype?
No, either way, I mean, New York would have to go on a super run here in order to get into those top 3 seeds. Again, it is a big match. I don't see them going on that big of a run. And plus, there's nothing saying Minnesota got a control win today. They got their first hardpoint win, and they're still showing up in S&D. I know Seattle doesn't look fantastic, but Seattle's their best mode by far is S&D, and they still clutched up, won 4 straight rounds, got it to 5-3, went to 5-5, won the round 11. So I'm not prepared to go as far as saying New York's going to win the next 3 matches, also be 4-1, and take one of those top 3 seeds from LA Thieves, Dallas, or Minnesota. But I think that they're getting closer. And when they get Hydra, and once Clayster starts to work Clayster type magic, I mean, who knows what happens in a couple months from now.
Dude, it's going to get dicey. I was just looking. So Dallas still has to play New York, and Dallas still has to play LA Thieves.
Yep.
Like, if we just, chill out, win 3-0, 3-1 versus New York, knock on wood, if that could happen, if we're able to take care of London, we could be sitting in the number 2 or even 1 spot, depending on how the other matches go. So we've truly been treated to Super Week this week. It almost kind of already feels like we're at the major because, like, I mean, all of the matches have, high significance. It all leads to seeding, which all leads to champs. It's all a big deal. But now when you're starting to see how it's shaking out, you're starting to see, okay, who's who, who's good, who's not. Everyone's playing each other so closely for the most part. The remaining matches that we have this week are going to be crazy. All right, we said it today. Attach and Prisa are the MVPs in our opinion, but I want to give a big MVP shout out to everyone in the chat at the co-stream here. Really appreciated chatting with you guys, getting hyped for the matches, breaking down the action. Almost everyone in the chat was pretty much right. They were like 3-1 or 3-0, and wow, we had it. We'll see what the predictions look like on Thursday, though. So, guys, the next time you will see us will be on Thursday at 2 p.m. Central Time. We are the first match of the day, so we will not be early and we will not be late. Today we're a little early because of how the other matches went, but that's a pretty sticky start time, so expect to see the co-stream up around 1:50 Central. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Icon, any closing thoughts? What are your closing thoughts? Closing thoughts, let's go RØKKR. What are yours?
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing what Attach and Priesta would bring to the table, and they did not disappoint. This was the Priesta that when free agency happened, we thought, oh boy, this is the SMG that Minnesota needed. And today, Attach and Priesta they came ready to play, and they were a big key in the victory.
I agree, and the whole team played really well. I mean, there was a couple of there's a couple rough spots, but overall, it was really well-rounded team play. I was really impressed on the Search and Destroy because, like you did say, Surge's best mode is Search. They are a very good Search team. They always will be with that lineup, but we were able to take care of it, and that boded really well for us. So, whew, what a day. I'm excited for the rest of the Super Week. We will see you guys back here on Thursday at 1:50 Central Time before we play the New York Subliners. Have a good day, and we'll catch you next time.